I really want men to realize that women do not owe you anything. Not a smile, not a hello, not a wave. You are not entitled to our time or our energy. While I was still in pigtails and school uniforms, I was receiving unwarranted attention from older men. That attention only continued to grow as I started to develop. And when I say older, I mean men who were old enough to be my father, old enough to be my grandfather. And I clearly looked my age. When I was freshly 25, just moved to DC, I was walking in my neighborhood. And because I didn't say hello fast enough to a gentleman who was standing on the corner, he decided to throw a beer bottle at me that just barely missed my head. I and so many women like me learned very early on to shrink ourselves in the presence of unknown men and in the presence of men we do know. Because to draw attention to ourselves can put us in a very dangerous position. To smile or not smile at a stranger walking down the street. To give your number or not give your number to a man in a convenience store. To say yes or no to a potential date from someone on a dating app. All of these instances have led to women losing their lives. So yes, we take precautions by not making eye contact with men we do not know in our neighborhood.
A top tier man is an average woman. That is the reason why men can be shallow and have all these high expectations for women, but women got to sit here and pick a man that's medium ugly in hopes that he has money, because men are not the full package. Men wouldn't be able to sit here and have all these crazy high standards for women unless women were actually hitting the standard. That's the reason why they are able to do this, because there are women out here that are working, going 50-50, raising multiple children, keeping their looks in order, being submissive. There are women out here doing all of that shit. But as women, you gotta think and pick, okay, do I want him to be attractive? Okay, well, if he's attractive, in most cases, he's going to be broke. Okay, well, do I want him to have money? Because then if he has money, he's probably going to be unattractive. Women always have to barter something in order to deal with a man. This is why a lot of women just opt out, like myself. I've opted out of dealing with men because I am sick of making sacrifices for things because they cannot step up to the fucking plate to be a full, well-rounded individual. And I got to the point where I was just so tired of it. Why do I have to be snatched? Why do I have to have enough money? Why do I have to be the one to push out babies? Why do I have to be the one expected to go 50-50? Why do I have to be the person that has to be submissive? Why do I have to do all these things? And only men, it's only expected of them to fucking work a job. This is why more women need to choose to be single, because it's not fair. The reason why women get so frustrated by this shit is because you're still choosing them when they're inadequate. Women are still choosing men when they're inadequate. What will give men the will to change when women are still deciding to deal with men and having a barter just to deal with one? Men are not doing that. Men are not fucking doing that. Men will get to the point where they need a wife, where they finally decide to say, you know what, I'm going to get married. Men want to have their cake and eat it too, and women need to have the same fucking energy. Men don't care about dating multiple women and not having just one woman, because at the end of the day, men want it all. Women rather get a morsel of something instead of just walking away and saying, you want to know what? If I can't have it all, I just don't fucking want it. Women have no problem negotiating their standards. Men don't. Men do not negotiate their standards. Only women decide to negotiate their standards. Then they get mad. Then they get upset when the man cannot fulfill the standards that she is already meeting, because it's never gonna fucking work. Women refuse to put men in a situation where you will leave them alone because they're not being the perfect person for you. That's the reason why men keep telling y'all, you're gonna have to settle. You're gonna have to settle. They're telling y'all that they're not going to fucking change for you. They're telling y'all, we're going to be bare minimum people. Take it or leave it. And y'all will still take it. And then women will get mad about what they're being given when you decided to take that. You decided to take somebody that was unattractive and emotionally unintelligent, and all because he had money. Now you're complaining about the fact that he's not vulnerable. Now you're complaining about the fact that he's not being empathetic. It's easier to be single. Men will be forced to step up to the plate when women stop bargaining with men's inadequacies, because they're not doing that with women. They will see a woman that they see as beautiful and they'll be like, no, she talks back too goddamn much. Beauty goes out the window. They say it all the time. Your beauty don't mean anything if you can't bring peace. They will pass over a beautiful woman easily, even if she is inadequate in one fucking thing. Only women will deal with a man when he is inadequate. Stop. Women need to stop doing that, because at the end of the day, it's not about what's fair. It's about you having standards that are non-fucking negotiable and being okay with being single until, or even if not, you're okay with being single for the rest of your life because they're not going to reach your standards. Men, when they don't have access to women, is usually when they decide that they're going to make changes. Stop giving mediocre men access. That's it, that's all.
Google the richest women in the world, like where they got their money from. It's rough. It's rough out there, guys.
I want to talk about it being tough out here, because we can talk about it being tough out here. I'm going to tell you something that if you don't know will absolutely fucking blow your mind. And I'm going to need you to stay with me because this affects you even if you don't think it does. Worldwide, 2% of venture capital funding goes to women founders. If you're listening to this and you're not an entrepreneur, you're going to be like, okay, cool. I don't want to start a business. That's not a problem for me. How many times have we sat next to a man that's been like, oh, the gender pay gap doesn't exist. It's illegal. You can't be paid a different amount for the same job. And therefore, we do have gender equality now. Absolutely the fuck not. If you look around and you look at your phone, you look at the software you're using, you look at the clothes you're wearing, I can bet that the very large majority of that will have been made because of venture capital funding. So you look at that list of richest women, right? You look at that list of richest men. What have they done? They have built companies, and they have built companies through getting venture funding. It is almost impossible to grow a big business without getting venture capital funding. And so don't even talk about this being like fucking tough out here when the playing field is so far from level. Earlier this year, when my two male co-founders decided to start a company with me, their chances of raising funding for that business decreased by 81.5% by just adding me as a co-founder. Adding someone, a whole person with a great education who's built successful businesses before, adding me to the co-founders decreased their possibilities of raising funding by 81.5%. Fine, you don't care about that. Let's talk about how this affects fucking everyone. So first of all, we know that women-founded companies hire more women, they pay women more, they have more equitable policies for women. They also, statistically, in case you didn't know, far outperform male-founded companies when venture-backed. And even if none of those things come into your radar and you are absolutely fine with all of those things, then let me tell you that this funding gap is exactly why we are building a world for men by men. We talk about having gender equality. We talk about how far we've come. Yes, we've come so far. But it is things exactly like this funding gap, which mean that, for example, 97% of all of the scientific data we have on the human body, 97% is based only on men. It's 2024. How can you complain about something like the fact that the women who are richest in the world are richest by divorce? Do you know what got their husbands that money? Building companies. Statistically, women cannot even get fucking close. So how about you stop whining about the fact that apparently these women want money when actually what they want is lowered barriers to entry so that they can build their own shit, build a world that is actually made for them and grow economies. But before that playing field is even close to level, let's just not.
Would you rather date someone out of your league or below your league?
Oh my God, out of my league for sure. I gotta shoot high. Always shoot high.
I guarantee every guy says this, by the way. Every guy wants someone out of their league.
Below my league. I think out of my league, you would feel very insecure the whole time and just think that you're not good enough.
Oh, out of your league, definitely. I'm the winner in that scenario.
League.
Below, 100%.
Really? Why?
I don't know. My mom just always said that, like, you should just have, like, it's just better to know that, like, you're secure and, like, you just love them. But, like, my boyfriend now, it's like, he's just the best. And, like, we're just equals.
Love it. Good save.
Out of my league for sure. Yeah, I can handle that. It's all good.
Out of my league.
I told you all the guys are gonna say this.
Ladies, did you get that? All the men said they would date and pursue a woman out of their league. They would pursue a woman they know they cannot afford, they cannot maintain, a woman who is above their social class or social status. But did you listen to the women? All the women said, oh, I'll date below my league so that I can feel more secured. Men in North America will be working in Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon warehouse. Shout outs to all those men. We appreciate men who make a decent and an honest living. I'm just using you as an example. Men will be working in those places and they believe they deserve to date a nurse practitioner, a medical doctor, a surgeon, and a professor. Even on social media, especially TikTok, you will see black men. I don't want a woman who is college educated. We don't care about your education. We don't care about your degrees. We don't care about your PhD. And these are men with a high school diploma, some of them with an associate diploma, some of them barely doing well with a bachelor's degree. They'll be bringing down women who have a master's and a PhD. Oh, we don't care about those degrees. Yet they want to date such women when they don't measure up. Men have audacity. And if women, we have half of the audacity of men, we will rule the world as women. I am going to share an experience that is related to the topic here. So sometime last year, I went to a conference and there was a presentation by a PhD student. And so she was looking at the reviews that were posted on different company websites and she analyzed the gender differences. And one thing she noticed is that men are likely to apply for a job even when they did not meet the minimum qualification. However, women would not apply for a job when they did not meet the minimum qualification. Women are more likely to apply for a job when they almost met the qualifications that were expected and the experience and expertise that were required. Even when it comes to salary structure, one of the reasons why women are underpaid in certain jobs is the fact that women are seen not to negotiate their salaries. Once we get a job and we are given a particular amount, we don't negotiate based on our prior experience. But men tend to negotiate and are not afraid of losing a job offer. What is my point? Men have audacity. Men will go for women and things they don't deserve and they do not see anything wrong with it. But women are afraid to even go for what they deserve simply because women are socialized to manage the expectations and often go with what they can get. There is a saying that if you give a woman 10 men, she will choose one and she will settle. But if you give a man 10 women, he will still be pursuing the woman that he believes meet all his expectations and requirement, and he will not settle. Dear ladies, the lesson here is have audacity and set your eyes on the best man you can possibly get. My name is Dr. Zita. I am a sociologist. Currently, I have an audacious audacity. If you're not following, guess what? Hit the follow button.
Things I'm learning about men through my male friends, part 1. Men have no concept of a league. Like, according to them, every woman, no matter how attractive and successful and rich and well-educated she is, they genuinely, in their brain, think that they have a shot with her. Like, when my girlfriends and I look at good-looking men, we're still rooted in reality. Like, we wouldn't really approach a guy that we think is so much better than us because there's just no need. Like, we understand leagues. But my guy friends, the kind of women that they set their eyes on, like, I've looked at them and I've asked, this is a woman that you're going after? Like, you genuinely think you guys have a shot? And they're like, yeah, why not? The audacity shocks me, you guys. Number 2, men can be just as delusional as women. It's just in different aspects. For me and my girlfriends, if a guy texts us like once a month, the way our brain works is, oh, he's so in love with me. But for men, whatever a woman does, the way their brain works is, oh, she wants to sleep with me. Recently, one of my guy friends actually told me this girl wanted to take him home. Like, this woman is literally ghosting him and he's telling me with full confidence that she wants him bad. Number 3, nothing that a nice guy does is for you. It's for themselves and themselves only. It is for their own validation. It is only for them to be seen as the different guy. These ones just happen to be socially aware and very well packaged. So the rule that I follow now is that no matter how nice a guy is to me as a friend, I don't give a shit. I'm only gonna judge a man based on how well he treats his girlfriends and his wife. That's all I give a shit about, because because these men are so good at acting like they're hidden gems. They just know how to put on a good facade, and that's about it.
I have never seen the audacity of men be so loud as it is in a single email thread. Welcome back to part 2. To recap, this guy emailed my co-founder a day ago and offered him $1,500 USD for 51% of our company. A deal that we very obviously said no to. But what we weren't expecting was his reply to our no. The many, many paragraphs he responded with can be summed up with this. He thinks our business will fail without him, and that's why he wants 51% of it. So I have the emails. And if you remember from part 1, I've already asked this guy, what are your credentials? I asked him that in my first email to him. He responded with a bunch of unsolicited advice and no credentials. And then my second follow-up email to him, I told him that I wanted to see concrete experience. So now, in this fourth email from him, we are yet again not getting any credentials, but we are getting a masterclass in mansplaining, which is really exciting. So one of my chief complaints in the last email I had sent was that he was just citing popular marketing frameworks and not giving me concrete experience. So this is his response to that. Kristen, thanks for your reply. You know these concepts in theory, but you have not applied them. I wouldn't be so quick to write off the value they provide either. That is, when applied in practice accurately. I don't get the whole recycled frameworks or generalized remarks. These were my comments. How about I dive a little deeper and say that tea time has a classic cold start problem and you need to pivot to a hyper-specific niche. Let's work through a scenario together, shall we? He starts fully workshopping our business in an email using the jobs to be done framework, which if you're in marketing, you're familiar with, fully explains it. He fully explains the whole thing. So this part sets me off. Beyond the mansplaining, this is where it gets really, really out of line. He responds to me. I can feel the tone through your words, and I see that I have offended you, which is not my intention. For that, I do apologize, but I can see that you're too steadfast in your ways. I'm too steadfast in my ways. The true nature of an entrepreneur is being malleable, accepting change, acknowledging failure, and that's it. That's his end. He doesn't even sign off there. So at this point, I'm done. I want to end this email thread. So I reply, hi. We're gonna close the loop here. We've clearly declined your offer, and your continued follow-ups haven't changed that. In parentheses, still without addressing the ask around relevant experience. We're not looking for feedback, coaching, or startup philosophy. To be crystal clear, Tea Time isn't a full-time venture at this stage. We're not working full-time on this business, just FYI. Your $1,500 won't change that. And it definitely doesn't buy the kind of time or output you seem to expect. We're building this on our own timeline and budget, which is maybe slower than the success stories that you're hearing about in TechCrunch or having wet tech bro dreams about. I was so mad, okay? I was so mad. But it's what we decided when we first started working together, and it still stands as of now. Appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's not the time. He replies with this. Kristen, I think your co-founder just learned something new about you. Farewell. Farewell, good sir. So dramatic. Men are so dramatic. Oh my god. Also, for the record, my co-founder thinks this is hilarious. I reply with, Chase has always known where I stand and that I have no problem standing firm when needed. And I think that's a good ending. That's the end of the email thread. So I thought this was only going to be 2 parts, but I did get an email from him yesterday. And it's very interesting. And I replied to him, but he hasn't replied back to the other emails. So I'm kind of excited. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen next.
There is no one more audacious than a man that knows he can have you whenever he wants to. When that man knows that all he has to do is dangle the carrot of marriage in front of you, dangle the carrot of a happy family in front of you, and whatever he's done wrong, all is forgiven, that man will continue to play in your face. That man will continue to give you the bare minimum and expect you to accept it every single time. That man has shown you in every way imaginable that he's not interested. So why would you let his words tell you otherwise? That man is already on his millionth second chance, but you know good and well you're willing to give him another one because the idea of him is what you're truly in love with. The version of him that he showed you in the beginning. The thing about it is that version was fake. That man was good to you with the first 6 weeks of the relationship and has been a devil the last 6 months or 6 years of the relationship, but you're trying to get back that little window of time where he was amazing to you. When will you realize that that was the version of him that was fake? The one that you have right now, that's the real him. Waiting for a man to get back to the person that he showed you in the beginning is how women waste months, years, decades of their life. If you think to yourself, if he never gets back to the version of him that I saw in the beginning, would I be okay with that? If your answer is no, cut him loose.
Biggest takeaway I had from Harvard Business School is that you literally just need audacity and delusional self-confidence to thrive in life. And here's how you're going to get some of that in your life. So I think the very first thing that a lot of people overlook is having the mindset that you are giving yourself permission to take up space. I think there are a lot of merits to being quiet, humble, introverted. I love that. But when you're in an environment like Harvard Business School, I'm sorry, like it doesn't matter. Like you are not going to do well because you are surrounded by all these people that are more extroverted and are willing to put themselves out there, and you are just going to get overshadowed, unfortunately. You're not giving yourself the permission to take up space like those people. You're just going to be resentful of them. You're going to feel like, okay, I know I need to do that too, but I just can't bring myself, and it's going to be a spiral. I've literally been there, so I know. And so I think the first thing is saying, okay, I'm going to give myself the permission to take up space, whether that is speaking up a little more than I usually would in a meeting or posting this video even though I don't know if my friends or people will like it. You have to get comfortable with doing things for you and just not caring about what other people might think or say about it, because you know you just got to get your business done. It's going to be weird the first few times. You're going to be like, whoa, that was really weird. Now you're going to have all these new set of problems that you've never experienced before because you've never let yourself get to this stage. It's so exciting. It's terrifying though. And if you're sitting here thinking, okay, Danielle, that sounds amazing, but I have no idea how I'm going to do that for myself, I got you. Part 2 is on the way.